there's a spot on Ireland's west coast where the cliffs drop straight into the sea, a place where mist clings to the rocks, hiding secrets that people don't talk about. It was on one of those cliffs that a young woman named Aoife found herself one stormy night. She'd been traveling for days and, worn out, took shelter in a small, run-down stone cottage she stumbled upon near the cliff's edge. Inside, the cottage was empty, dark, and cold, but it was dry, and that was enough. She huddled in a corner, grateful for any break from the biting wind. As her eyes adjusted to the dim light, she noticed something on the floor. A small, old comb, just lying there. It looked out of place, too beautiful to be in a forgotten place like this. Without thinking much, Aoife picked it up, running her fingers over its smooth surface. It felt colder than it should have, but she shrugged it off and tucked it into her pocket. As night settled in, the storm outside raged on. Suddenly, a sound broke through the noise. It was faint at first, a low, drawn-out wail, rising and falling like the wind. But this was different. It felt closer, almost like it was calling to her. Aoife tried to ignore it, convincing herself it was just the storm playing tricks on her. But the sound grew louder, becoming a piercing cry, like nothing she'd ever heard before. It echoed in her ears, filling her with an icy dread. Curiosity, or maybe something stronger, pulled her toward the window. She looked out, and there, in the moonlight, stood a figure by the cliffs. A woman, pale and ghostly, with long, dark hair blowing wildly in the wind. She was brushing her hair with a comb, the very same one that Aoife had found in the cottage. The woman's eyes, hollow and dark, met Aoife's. And in that moment, Aoife knew she was staring at something otherworldly. The woman's mouth opened, and that horrible wail started again, filling the air with a raw, aching sorrow that cut straight through Aoife's. Her body froze. She couldn't look away, couldn't move. She could only watch as the woman turned and disappeared into the mist, leaving that dreadful, echoing cry in the air. And then, silence. By morning, Aoife was gone. No one saw her leave, and she was never found. But locals still say that if you wander too close to those cliffs on a stormy night, you might hear the cry of the Banshee herself. Some even say that if you're unlucky enough, you might catch a glimpse of Aoife's ghost, still wandering, still lost, drawn forever to the Wailing Woman of the cliffs.